All right, so I've got a new red dot to show you guys. This is the Osight C right here. I'm going to unbox this and talk about it. You know, over the years, I've been able to test a lot of different red dots. You know, I've got obviously the Holosun 507K, got Aimwin here, and I've even tested the Osight. This is the SE here, and I've done reviews on a lot of these in the past, but I want to talk about this one here, the Osight C. Now, this is going to be comparable in a lot of ways to like a Holosun 507 comp. You're going to have the same RMR footprint, battery, kind of material, all that kind of stuff. But what's, I think, unique about this compared to the Osight SE here, and the thing about Osight is really, I think it may be one of the best value brands of red dot, because these are going to run typically under 200 bucks. So, I mean, obviously, if you get a Trijicon R&R, I mean, you're going to be spending, what, up to $800 or more on something like that. So not all of us can spend that kind of money on a red dot, but we really want to have a red dot on our firearms, our pistols, or, you know, ARs or something. So that's why I'm really trying to recommend something like this, like Osight. So if you're familiar with Olight, so on here, got the an Olight there. So if you're familiar with Olight, and here's a Olight new one, Art Pro, or O-Knife. So here's an O-Knife. So it's the same parent company, Osight. Okay. So the biggest difference, I think, between these two is the design. You can see the difference of design between these two, and also different footprint. So this would be the SC here would be like the RMSC footprint. This is going to have IPX7 waterproof. This is IPX6 waterproof. Going to have a little bit different size of lens here. And so this one's going to be a little bit bigger, the C. And this one's going to be a little bit more expensive, the SC. So those are some of the differences between these. But really, it comes down to really the overall difference of the design itself. So I'm going to move this out of the way and show you this. So what I really appreciate about Osight is the box, the packaging. And what I mean by that, this is actually something that's very unique about Osight. Not this, I mean, other companies do this, but this does tell you like the torque rating per screw that you use to put on your gun. So some stickers. Thank you for being part of the Osight family. Your support is the reason we are here. Enjoy. So really like that. Here it is, right here. So it's nice. It's very nice. Look at that. So we'll look at that closely here in just a moment. But here's what I wanted to show you. So they got a little box over here, and this is true for when I open the SE up. And coming out soon, I'm going to talk about this one, Osight X. So, but anyway, but look at this. This is really, really kind of nice that they do this. So in this box here, it kind of reminds me of like Apple products. They're just user experience oriented. But you got your tool for your screws right here. Kind of got a little skull on there, it looks like, almost. Of course, your instruction, user manual here. But here's what's kind of cool. So you've got a variety of screws, both long and short, for the different options here. And the reason that you would have long and short on here, like the long ones, you got 3 long ones, 3 short ones for all of these. And the reason is that if you need to use an adapter plate, you know, to put it on your firearm, which they sell, of course, on their website. So you can just do an adapter plate and use these longer ones. If you're doing a direct mount, then you can just use the shorter ones. And that's really the reason why. Now, I'm going to take one of these out here and show you that it does come with some blue Loctite on there. I'm not sure you can see that or not. It does come with some blue Loctite on there. So that's kind of nice. So isn't that kind of cool though? A lot of them, I don't get this. I don't get a nice just block of screws handy. So they've thought about that, of course. So that just goes back in there. I'll take this out in just a second. But you know, one nice thing to have if you're doing any kind of work with red dots or anything really with firearms, my favorite kits is the Fix-It Sticks kit, and it has a torque on there, and so torque wrench on there, and so that's really handy. So got the battery on the side here, so which is nice. It's a little tray that slides out, so that's always appreciative, because some of them, the battery is underneath and you got to take the whole thing off to get the battery out. Now they say this battery that's on here, this is a very long-lasting battery. I think off the top of my head they said something like, if you're just doing the actual dot itself and not the large ring MOAs, it can last like 100, like 100,000 hours or something like crazy. There you go. So very common battery size. Pull that clip out so it'll turn on and work. Push that back in. Put this back on. The housing here is a 70-75 aluminum anodized housing. So it's pretty lightweight, 1.48 ounces. On here I'm actually going to get this, where's that thing? Oh, it's in here. In this case you have your instruction, user manual, safety, and then comes with a little cleaning cloth. So if you get your fingerprints and stuff on there, like I just did, you can just clean it off. So that's nice. Move that out of the way. It is the RMR footprint. It's going to be very common to put on all kinds of firearms, and they've got on their website the kinds of firearms that you can just direct mount this to, and you can kind of see if that fits yours. And if it doesn't, then just use some kind of adapter plate, and that's just fine. The sight picture on here is pretty large. Comparing that to, here's a comparison with the Holosun 507K, and look at the difference there. There's a large window, so it'd be easy to spot, easy to find, and even compared to the SE here, you can see the difference there too. So it's a pretty large window on there. So you can kind of see right now what it's looking like, and we'll change through this in just a minute. But it's a 0.95 by 0.75 window, so it's a pretty big sight picture, which is good for target acquisition. There it is. I mean, it's very easy to find that in there. So the lens has this coated. It's a coated lens that's on here. It's anti-reflective, which is also nice. It on this one, on the C here, the MOA is a 3, so it's a 3 MOA dot, and that's different from a lot of them. A lot of them are 2 MOA, so it's going to be a little bit slightly larger dot, and then a 32 MOA circle. Okay, so that's pretty standard. The circle's pretty standard, but it's going to be a slightly larger dot, which could be nice, easier to find that dot. And I just like to run a dot myself. I don't like to use the circle personally, but it's got 10 different brightness levels on here. So you can go up and down on the side, plus and minus. So it's got 8 daytime and 2 night vision. So you've got 2 different night vision. It also has memory function on here, so it returns to whatever the last selected brightness level is that you had. So that is pretty nice. If I push this down, I'm not sure if you're going to see this or not. I can turn that down pretty far and then push the plus button here. I'm not sure if you can see that in the camera or not, but make that pretty bright too. So that's really nice. Of course, like I said, right now is just on the dot, the circle and the dot together right now. So you got windage and elevation. So here on the top you've got the elevation, and then on the side over here you got the windage. Okay, left, right, up and down. So that's pretty nice. So MSRP on this is about $180, but I feel like I can always find these on sale somewhere. I think today, time of recording, they're like $140, $150. Now again, you compare this to even a Holosun, which is a value brand, right? I mean, Holosun are $350 or something. I can't remember the last. I have several Holosuns, but they're going to be another extra $100, $200 more than something like this. But again, like for example, the Holostone 507 comp is $435. I checked it this morning. MSRP was $435. Same footprint, again, same battery, same aluminum material that's CNC down. So, you know, something that's MSRP of $180 like this, and Holostone's $435. Again, I know that Trijicon and some other ones out there have a lot more features and all of that, but you know, if you're spending, again, MSRP 180 versus a Trijicon or even a Holostone, I just think there's nothing wrong with going with something like this. Especially, I think the reason you would choose this one is because of the sight picture, because they're so comparable to so many other ones. But I think the sight picture, if you like a large sight picture, then this would be really good. Of course, it's more square than round. A lot of them are round. So if you just like a large sight window there, then this would be, I think pretty ideal. So I don't know, guys. What do you think? What do you think? I'm kind of a big fan of Osight, and so you just push and hold the negative, and now it's just the dot. Okay, I can push and hold the negative again, and it goes just to the circle. I'm not sure if you can see that there, and push and hold the negative again, and it goes to a circle and the dot, and then like I said, I just like the dot, so I'm just going to push it and go back to the dot. So that's how you do that. So pretty, I mean, very intuitive, right? But you know, between the profile of the SE right here, that's on this P322, you can see the difference of profile between these two. Okay, so it is going to be a little bit different. Again, I think the reason to go with the C is the size. If you like that little bit larger picture, then the C would be a really great option for you. So anyway, guys, yeah, tell me what you think. If you've ever used this before, if you ever used the C or any of those sites, have you ever had a problem with them? I haven't, but if you've ever had an issue with Osight before, then yeah, let me know, because I can't find anything wrong with Osight red dots. And again, coming out pretty soon, we're talking about the X. Pretty amazing little device there. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for your support for us and for our channel. And if you've already done so, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel, and we will see you on the next video.